Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Testing. My name is Tucker Johnson, and I am your host today as we experience NIMSY Live, where we talk about the latest and the greatest in translation, localization, internationalization, culturalization, and all that fun stuff global companies need to delight their international customers, or at least not to piss them off too much. If you're not already subscribed to NIMSY Insights, then go ahead and hit that subscribe, follow, like button, and what that means is you're going to be the first to be notified as NIMSY publishes new research or as we schedule new fun live streams like this. On this program, we invite guests who like to have fun and also have some value to add for our audience of globalization professionals. I'm always eager to provide a platform to those with a good story or a good data set. So let us know if there are any topics that you would like to see covered or guests we should reach out to for future episodes. Before we get started too much today, I want to go to the magical wheel of sizzles here and see what we're going to plug. You know, we came out with a new magazine over at Multilingual Magazine, so be checking your mailboxes for that, for the new issue of Multilingual coming out. But also, what I'd really like to talk about today is the podcast that's going on over there. If you're not already subscribed to Localization Today, which is published by Multilingual Media, go check that out. It's all of the daily news that we have available at multilingual.com, but in audio form. So you can listen to it on your commute, on your workout, wherever you happen to listen to your podcast. So without further ado, you know what? I also want to talk about upcoming events that we have coming up here in the industry, because these days there are actually events to talk about. So if you head on over to nimsy.com/event, and we also have the same calendar available through multilingual.com if you're more of a multilingual guy or gal. Or if you'd like to see the upcoming episodes of NIMSY Live, these are all listed here in the NIMSY Localization Industry Events Calendar. So a great tool, lots of powerful filters. You can filter by geography, you can filter by event type, you can filter by cost, all of that stuff. Lots of good stuff for you to go and just plan out your next couple quarters of where you're going to travel. Most people today are joining us on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is kind of home base for live NIMSY Live episodes, but we're also live streaming to YouTube, Facebook, Twitter as well. So check us out on all those platforms, or if you're on one of those other platforms, come join the conversation over here on LinkedIn, and you can say hi in the chat, and we're going to bring those chats up on screen right here and hopefully address them, because we got a really exciting topic and guest. One of my favorite things to talk about, of course, is live streaming, and I love live streaming. Obviously, it's what I do here on NIMSY Live, but I've always been disappointed by the lack of tools and resources and services available to be able to do multilingual live streams. Like, we're all familiar with dubbing and localization. I'm preaching to the choir here for video and multimedia content, but there's not a lot of options out there to be able to get those solutions available in a live stream format. Until now, I've found a really cool solution. I didn't find a cool solution. My team did, and they made introductions to Alvaro Montoya, who is the CEO and founder of Akkadu. Welcome, Alvaro.
Hi. Thank you for having me today, Tucker.
Yeah, I'm gonna actually bury you a little bit here because I want to take care of a few more things, but we're gonna get to you in a second. So hang tight, because we're gonna eat our own dog food today. I'm talking about Alvaro's developed with his company a tool to facilitate multilingual live streaming, and we're going to use that today. If you go to the LinkedIn page here we are on LinkedIn, and I don't know why I'm on a 10-minute delay here, it looks like. But for those of you that are logging in via desktop, if you go over to the details section and the About, you're going to see a couple links here. Whether you're joining from a Microsoft Edge browser or you're joining from a Chrome browser, this I happen to have open in Microsoft Edge, so I'm going to use that. And we can install these quick and easy extensions. And I am doing this live. So the law of Murphy's Law of live demos may apply. But I'm going to take this browser extension here. I'm going to put that link in. I'm going to click Get. I'm going to click Add Extension and see what happens here. It says Akkadu has been added to Edge. Awesome. So how do I get to Akkadu now? Akkadu. And it's going to open up this window here. And I'm going to use room name WJZX. What happened to my window? Give me one sec. All right, I'll have to open it back up again. Extensions, Akkadu, and input room name, enter. And what this is going to allow me to do is select a language. And today we have, for demo purposes, we have English and we have Spanish. So if I click this Spanish, then I should be able to hear the live Spanish interpreting. If it's not muted.
Yeah, notice that because you are streaming and there is this delay, so people only it's not matched for you, but it will be matched for the users on the LinkedIn page.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I'll have to come back to that later. Maybe it's my audio settings. But I want you guys to all go check that out as well and take part in this. Check out the tool, see if it's working, because we had just set this up right before the stream, and I'm hopeful that it's working. But that's the tool that we're talking about today. Not just the browser extension, though. We're talking about, it's much more than that. It's a multilingual video player that's available through Akkadu. A little bit about Akkadu before we get going here. We're going to talk about the browser extension. We're going to talk about the multilingual video player, how they work. We're going to talk about the disadvantages and advantages of each of those. And we're going to hopefully talk a little bit about what does it cost to run this today. This is being offered. This is fully sponsored by Akkadu today. But essentially, the objective today is to show how anybody can provide multilingual live streaming, multilingual meetings, and multilingual videos on their website without having to host separate videos for each language. Akkadu is a software as a service platform helping global organizations make their meetings and events multilingual with remote simultaneous interpretation, AI recognized subtitles, RSI and human live subtitles, AI translated subtitles. You can access the interpretation via web. There's an Android option. There's an iOS. There's a WeChat option. There's browser extensions, as we just saw. Global organizations are using Akkadu so that they can use their own in-house interpreters and inscribers, and they can build their own corporate branded web, Android, iOS extension, completely white labeled for their clients, for their customers, or for their internal people. If you want to find out more about Akkadu, go to www.akkadu, that's AKKADU.com. Now, Alvaro, who I have on, is the first Alvaro I've ever talked to in Beijing. So I was kind of, when I got the introduction, I was like, Alvaro, Beijing, weird time zone. So he's dialing in late today. He's a telecom engineer originally from Barcelona. He's got an MBA from Tsinghua University over in Beijing. He's fluent in Spanish, Catalan, English, and Chinese. During the last 11 years, he has been living in China, working in multinational companies such as Microsoft. Back in 2008, during his MBA studies, he built a prototype called Akkadu. At the time, it was just a multilingual AI software. It's developed since then, and he's participated in a startup competition sponsored by Facebook, where he got the second prize. And that was the beginning of Akkadu. And that is my attempt to introduce you here. I also have in my notes here that says, don't talk to him if you haven't watched Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings, or Star Wars. Do I have to have watched all of those? Or is it enough?
One is enough.
One is enough? All right, I got two out of the list. Well, welcome. Welcome, Alvaro. I want to turn it over to you and see, did I get that right on the introduction? What more can you fill me in about yourself and about the company here?
Well, I think you explained very well. I was rehearsing how to say what you just said, but you already said it. So that was good.
Well,
but yeah, basically that is what we are, this SaaS platform with multilingual solutions. So agencies and organizations can use to provide them these solutions to their clients or use it themselves in their own organizations. That is our positioning, which is a little bit different at the beginning. We started like a service provider company, but we like tech. 90% of the team are all developers, so we decided to focus only on the technology.
No one wants to touch those dirty services. Everyone wants to be a tech company, so I respect that. I see in the comments over there that the login is working, or the simultaneous interpreting is working. So thank you for verifying. Who verified that? Thank you, Holly, for verifying that it is indeed working. I have one very important question, because a lot of times when people talk to us at NIMSY, one of the first questions that I get is, what the heck does NIMSY mean? And now that I'm talking to a fellow with also a weird company name, I got to ask you, what does Akkadu mean? There's got to be a story behind that?
Yeah, there is a story. Okay, then Tucker, please get ready, and the audience as well. Story time. Around 3,000 years ago, in the Middle East, there was a city called Babylon City. And the citizens were building a tower called the Babel Tower with one unique purpose: to reach heaven. Based on the Bible, God was never happy with that idea. So punish all the citizens and makes them talk different languages so they cannot communicate and they cannot finish the tower. These are old stories. But in real life, 3,000 years ago, in Babylon City, the language that their citizens were talking is called Akkadian. And Akkadian is a forgotten language. It doesn't exist anymore, but it existed. And one of the words of the vocabulary is Akkadu. Akkadu means something coming from Akkadian culture and language. So in honor to that forgotten language, we call ourselves Akkadu. Thank you.
That is a much cooler story. I'm not even going to tell the story about NIMSY now. I think a lot of people have already heard it anyways, but it perfectly captures what you're trying to do. And I love talking to people. You are welcome to the language services industry, right? I think a lot of people, especially with technology solutions, come into this industry not specifically because they have a love for languages, but because they have a solution to a problem. And that solution involves multiple languages. You happen to fit both categories, because I see you are a linguist speaking multiple different languages, but you're approaching it from a technology-driven solution standpoint. And we were talking a little bit, actually just in the virtual green room before this call, about how this kind of came about. And it's been a very much needs-based evolution of this product. Tell us about, when was the first time that you had an idea, that you recognized a need in the market for providing multilingual video, and how that came about and what happened?
For the multilingual video,
yeah.
This started around.
Should we show people what we're talking about first, though? Should we pull up a multilingual video before? Because
Sure.
I've already gotten your demo when I talked to you before.
Sure.
So let's head on over here. Whoa. Let's head on over here, and I've already got this pulled up here. So talk me through this. What am I looking at here? This is Akkadu, or guide.akkadu.com/player.
Yes. So basically, this is a video player that now has a video, but also have 3 audio tracks. It's a multilingual player, and that's what I believe is the future for the multilingual stream. So basically, corporations or companies, they want to do a live stream to deliver a message. Now they can do it in multiple languages to reach farther audience. And if you now play here, you can see that you can play the video, and there is also the headset where you can select the different languages. If you go, for example, to the headset, you can click
found that nothing in life
Arabic or Chinese.
Unless you take risks. Nothing.
So basically, so basically here is an example of the different audio tracks, different languages, everything in one player.
And And
the beauty of this, actually, if you can see the line of code behind, is just one iframe. That's the beauty, because this is like YouTube. If you, for example, watch a YouTube video and suddenly you want to take that video and put it on your website, you just take one line of code, it's an iframe, and you just embed on your website. Then this is the same. Now people can, in their own websites, whether it's a big organization or even if it is an agency and just want to stream in multiple languages for their client, they can do it from their own website just by copy pasting this one line of code.
And that's, I mean, after seeing this product, because I originally started talking about the live streaming, which I find super cool because I like live streaming. And for those of you listening to the interpretation on the extension, awesome. I want to go back and listen to it later, but that is a human interpreter, of course, that is providing live interpretation for us right now. And that is super cool, and that blew my mind. And I wasn't so, just being honest, I wasn't so impressed with the not live version, the media player, because, Netflix, Amazon Prime, all of these different tools where I can just switch back and forth. But then I started realizing that that's only Netflix. Right? How come YouTube doesn't have that option to switch back and forth between audio tracks? Because as a business owner, we're producing videos all of the time and we're hosting them as iframes on our website and stuff. And if we want to have, so we did a multilingual series with Multilingual Media, like a year or two years ago, where all of it was weekly, I think, webinars and presentations, and they were all simultaneously interpreted into 4 different languages, right? And we were using Kudo for that. And it was always a challenge because Kudo wasn't designed for live streaming, it was designed for meetings. And so there was always some weirdness that had to go on. People couldn't participate in the live stream and hear the interpretation. So they couldn't log into a LinkedIn event. They had to join a Zoom webinar. And I hate Zoom webinars. This is why I do live streaming, right? And then after the fact, we would publish all 4 languages, and we'd have to have a separate video hosted on YouTube for each one, which was a huge pain in the butt. And what this would allow us to do is just have one video and put the power into the control of the user to select which audio track do they want to hear, right?
But not only that, this is also for live. So originally,
right,
there are 2 markets, the live market and then the video on demand market. So we are always starting on the live. So this player is for live streaming. So you can able to, but in this example, it's already recorded. But
I remember you were telling me that you're trying to get me to host this live stream on Nimsy's website. That's how this conversation, I think you're trying to sell to me. And you're saying, oh, you could host your live stream on Nimsy's website. Nah, I don't want to host it on Nimsy's website because all of our friends are here on LinkedIn. I don't want to make them go to a different platform. But
that's a very good point what you mentioned, because there are different type of clients, organizations, corporates. Some, for example, in your case, maybe you are more interested to be where your audience is, which seems is on LinkedIn. But there are some corporates that they provide services that they want to bring traffic to their website. That's something that we have learned in this market. So for those specific clients, this becomes very convenient. They use their own website to live stream, and then of course they get other channels like YouTube Live, Facebook Live to live stream as well. But this is one side. The other potential clients for this multilingual player for live video streaming is also virtual platforms. Virtual platforms, they also offer many organizations to live streaming on their platforms, and sometimes they need multiple languages. And the virtual platform becomes with a challenge, like how can I suddenly live stream in multiple languages? One option is let's have like parallel video streams in different languages, but the cost you multiply by 5. Yeah. And also sometimes the audience feel a little bit lonely because for every room you have divided people by languages. With this multilingual player, the virtual platform with just copy paste one line suddenly gets one unique video and multiple audio tracks. That's the benefit of the player. So it's not only the big corporates, also the virtual platforms players in this industry who benefit from this. And actually, this virtual player came up because we were trying to sell our API. We have an API in order to get streaming multiple languages. And we're trying to sell this to the virtual platform because they have developers. So we were telling them, hey, we have here a bunch of code for vanilla JavaScript, for Vue or React, different programming frameworks. And now you can integrate this on your platform. Everyone was excited. The problem that we realized is the virtual platforms, they are not streaming in multiple languages every day. Time to time, they get clients. So they were not that proactive to change the code because they need to involve the product manager, the CTO. And they have other needs because the virtual platforms are competing with other platforms with other features that everyone can use every day, right? So that's why there was one virtual platform in Dubai that these guys were very nice. They spent 1 hour with me and also with my CTO sharing their screen and telling us, look, guys, we really want to do this, but the CTO doesn't want to get involved. Is there any way with just a copy paste we can get this player in multiple languages? And that inspired us a lot. Yep. And it's thanks to that virtual platform that we got inspired, we did the player, and we realized of the potential of the player, which now is already beta tested by many platforms.
Yep. One line of code. I mean, I think even I can copy an iframe. So, and I'm seeing the comments now, and thank you, chat. Thank you, Holly. I am an interpreter's worst nightmare because I mumble my words and I speak way too fast and I have a horrible American accent. So lo siento mucho. Please forgive me. I will try to speak slower for the poor interpreter. And also to answer your question over there in chat, this is being interpreted just in Spanish today. So we're doing this, the purposes for the interpretation today is more for a demo purpose so that you guys can see what's available out there, but there's absolutely no reason why we couldn't have a Spanish interpreter, a French interpreter, a Tagalog interpreter, whatever we wanted to have in there, we could certainly have. I was just being a cheapskate and I didn't want to pay for a bunch of interpreters. So we wanted to give you the demo in Spanish. We figured that's a pretty common language out there.
Also, just one comment regarding the extension. So the original idea was always the player, but one thing that I have noticed, there are some people that even don't want the player, they prefer the extension. And that is also like, it's very interesting because our idea was not to focus on the extension, but we got some corporates with their own video conferencing systems and they just didn't want to get rid of what they built and suddenly rely on third-party video conferencing platform like Zoom. They suddenly needed an add-on to suddenly make all the meetings multilingual with the interpreters. So also the extension is very interesting because it's something unexpected. Because first we were trying to sell the API to the virtual platforms, and they come up with the idea with the player. Then we try to sell the player to the big corporates, and they come up with the extension idea, which actually is a good idea. So it's very interesting. But notice the extension is mainly for video conferencing. Today we're using it for live streaming.
Yep.
There is always the challenge of the delay, but still people can experience it, but I'm happy that now the participants can experience the extension as well.
And we over there in chat, we said there's some chatter about this can be done for any languages. Is there a maximum number of languages? Like, does the system have, or can I in theory have it live interpreted into 50 languages?
Yeah, definitely. We have no limit for the rooms that you can open and the language pairs, the combination of languages that you add.
Well, and tell us just for people that are curious about there, like how does that work because a lot of folks in our audience here at NIMSY, we're more on the services side, right? So, our eyes start to glaze over when we start talking about APIs and iframes and stuff. How does the actual interpretation work? Do you provide the interpreters? Does the client provide the interpreters? Do they work with a third-party LSP? What is that? Like if I come to you and I say, I want this, right? I want the ability to have simultaneous interpretation on my live streams. Do I need to go out and find my own interpreters, or do you provide them? Do you work with partners? Tell us about that.
Yeah. So we are still stick to our decision to only focus on the technology. So anytime that somebody approaches and they need the service, then we have agencies that partner with us, and they are the ones that provide the service. Then we just only maintain the platform. So this is the current business model that we have that is working pretty good, actually, because we have already agencies using Akkadu platform, like a lot. They are very expert. Sometimes when I realize that the tech guys know as much about Akkadu as I know. Well, actually, sometimes they even find some things that we can improve that I didn't expect it. So it's very good. So I completely trust them. And I know they can provide the service to the clients.
Free quality control. I love that. Free testing from your clients. I do that all the time here. So we have people in our audience from all sorts, language side folks, client side folks. How do you see this? Tell us about, because I know there's probably some language services providers out there that are already providing interpretation and localization services to their clients. And what happens if their clients ask them, do you have a solution for simultaneous live interpretation or simultaneous live video players? Is there a white labeling option? Tell us more. I think there is. I think it's a leading question. Tell us more about what options are out there for partnering.
Yeah, so there is the first level. The first level to use as a SaaS platform, of course, we have the freemium. So any translation agency can use our platform in the form of an extension, of a player, of a QR code, which a mini program. They can use the extension for free to test internally and to show demos to the clients. That's the first level. We have many agencies every week, almost every day, creating events and testing with their clients.
How do they do that? Do they need to talk to you first, or can they just go to your website and download?
No,
and they
just go to the website, they register, they create an event, they connect their own interpreters, and then, for example, if they want to try the extension, then they ask their client, download this extension, and this is the room name, ABCD. And a client is already experimenting and experiencing the solution. And that's the website where they need to subscribe. And if you go down, these are the solutions that any agency can use these solutions to get more clients and for free. And since we did this freemium model, it became actually more hot our platform because now more and more agencies are using, and that's the first level. The second level is in the moment that the agency gets the client, then just need to go to our platform and charge the balance. So we have, as a SaaS platform, we have a balance system. And then we start to deduct per hour. For example, they charge $500, and then we charge $20 per hour for the small meetings. So for every hour they are using our platform, no matter if it is 14 languages or 20 languages, it's going to be the same, $20 per hour. And then it starts to deduct the balance that they have. This is the second level that they can use our platform. Now, the third level is there are some agencies, translation agencies, especially the big ones, that they already have used the platform for many hours. And then they ask, Alvaro, is there any way that let's remove your logo, let's remove your domain? So they don't want the client even seeing akkadu.com. And that is also possible. So we are actually having many projects now where we are building these interfaces for the agency with their own brand, logo, and domain. And even we could build, for example, for Nimsi, your own extension. So then
You're still trying to sell me. I love it.
Yeah, well, it's in my veins. I was by default, I'm selling.
Game
So anyone can now search on the Chrome store for extensions with their own brand. No? In this case of Nimsi, they type Nimsi and they find it. So yeah, these are the three levels: the freemium, then the SaaS platform with your balance, and then your own corporate brand and image and domain. Because at the end, we are still doing what we want, is focusing on the technology while you focus on the service, which is already very, very complex. No, it's not easy to provide a service.
And first of all, can I just take a moment and say how freaking refreshing it is to see a SaaS company being upfront and transparent about their pricing model? Because
but you know how much criticism we receive at the beginning, like this is weird, it's not going to work.
I'm sure. That's why I'm taking a second to recognize, like, I appreciate that as a potential customer, because there's nothing I hate worse than having to fill out a contact form and then wait for a salesperson to call me. before I can understand the pricing model. And it looks pretty reasonable, based upon size and scope, essentially. Number of people in a room, number of participants. But yeah,
and there are actually if you go to the bottom, we have the documentation at the footer. At the bottom right, there is this there is documentation, and there is the whole price. On the left, you can see pricing. You can see the word pricing. Then you can see here the whole table with the price, very transparent, very transparent. And the reason is because at the beginning of Akkadu, I was providing a service, and everyone wanted to bargain. And I don't like. So that's why with our team, we decided, let's put one price on the website and we stick into that. And now it started to work because this is a SaaS platform. So nobody challenged a SaaS company to bargain about the pricing. It's very straightforward and people accept it.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, so guide.akkadu.com. Once again, that's AKKADU.com if you want to find out more. And just click around. Lots of good information out there that I probably should have looked at closer before starting this. So I'm not going to do it live on the screen here. Let's go to the comments here. Doesn't look like... Okay, thank you for sharing the links. Indy Vega says, yes, I have used Akkadu in 3 languages at the same time, and it's wonderful. So you have a client. You have a user on the call, Indy Vega.
Yes, they are a translation agency in the US, CCI Group. Recently, they did a big event in the, I think for the Orlando government. Yeah, it was pretty successful.
Oh, nice. All right, there you have it. So don't take my word for it. Definitely don't take Alvaro's word for it. Take Indy's word for it. It's a great solution. And like when I was initially chatting with you, I wasn't expecting much out of I just have a ton of calls throughout the day, and I was like, okay, so we're going to hear about a new technology. I'm going to take note and everything. And I didn't expect to be as impressed, and that's why I offered to have you on an episode, because I said, look, you're not going to get my money. I don't have any money. But, this is a cool product. Come tell the Nimsi's audience, the Nimsi's followers about it. And I don't do that to everybody. Nimsi Live is not a platform for people to come on and pitch their wares and sell. We really try to keep selling to a minimum. Well, except for me, I get to sell. But I really try to keep the promotional stuff to a minimum here on Nimsi Insights. The reason I wanted to have you on was because, this adds value. This is a good solution that I think really fills a need that's out there in the market. And hopefully this video is going to get, I don't know how many folks we have joining us right now, about 21 folks. Hello, 21 folks. But hopefully this video gets some good traction afterwards too. And for those of you that are listening, please make sure to spread the word, evangelize. There's a solution out there. You can white label it, because at the end of the day, it's not, you don't have to develop this internally. I know you LSPs have, talking to the audience, I know you LSPs have clients out there that are asking for solutions like this. So check out the white labeling options.
There is another thing that I think is interesting. One thing that has happened recently is the LSP client who wants a white label solution.
Right.
That is start to happen recently. So
oh, yeah.
I came up in some situations
because
that
they want to pretend like they built it themselves, right?
But it's good because I never saw this before. Akkadu with an agency together going into a bidding for a multinational IPO company and winning. That's happened recently, and this is because it's a good combination. The LSP is there to provide 5 years their service, and Akkadu is there to build this customized white label for the corporate. That concept of SaaS platform with LSP together going into a bidding with an IPO company and winning, I never imagined that before. This happened recently, but I can see how this white label thing is not only for LSP, it's also for the final client.
Well, and I think, maybe years ago, there was this, LSPs really felt the need, they needed to have their own technology solution. They needed to develop everything in-house and keep that in-house, use it as a competitive advantage or strategic, whatever, differentiator. But these days, the technology, this field of language technology is just booming. There are so many different companies out there that are developing technology for the language services industry. If y'all aren't familiar with, I'm going to pull this up. This is the Microsoft homepage because my internet is slow. But if y'all aren't familiar with the NIMSY Language Technology Atlas, every year we publish this report, the Language Technology Atlas. It's led by my colleague Yulia Kulkova, and we just talked to a ton of different companies out there that are offering different solutions specifically for this industry. And I think in the last one, oh, here it is, says right here, I was trying to find out. The NIMSY Language Technology Atlas maps over 700 technology solutions across a number of key product categories. 700 solutions out there on the market right now. And I think what that's happened, the shift that we've seen in the market, is LSPs are beginning to rely less and less on their proprietary technology, and they're more comfortable with adopting these third-party solutions. And I think the market is better for it because it takes a lot of risk away from the end buyer. They're not putting all of their eggs in one basket. They're not reliant upon the same vendor for technology as they are for the services, for the interpretation. And I'm just kind of going off on a tangent now. Sorry about that.
But I actually agree with that because if you take, I think you have a list of the top 100 translation agencies.
Yep.
Actually, if you take the top 10, more than a half we have met. They have approached us to know our technology, how we are doing, how can we integrate with them. And I also was thinking the same like you. Why this big agency, billion-dollar companies, is talking with us for 7 meetings when they can build by themselves? But still, I think it's like when they see an opportunity, they also try to embrace this new technology. So I can see this trend now.
A maxim that I repeat, and I always piss people off when I repeat it, so I should probably stop saying it over and over again. But I believe it, and it's that technology companies suck at language, and language companies suck at technology. And people always, oh, well, we have a great R&D department, and we have the greatest technology. Yeah, and it sucks. I'm sorry. Because the problem is, and I think because of that, that's what's created an environment where these third-party technology providers can come in and start offering these solutions, because it's a very specialized profile. It's a very special profile for someone that understands how to develop software and also understands at least enough about the complexity of language, because there's a lot of folks that have tried and failed to create software-driven language solutions, but they neglected to inform themselves about the complexities of localization. And I'm not even going to go into the complexities of localization. There's just a lot out there right now.
I think one advantage, one thing that I notice when I talk with big, huge LSPs is sometimes it's about the speed. I think as startups, we can test faster than maybe the big agencies. And maybe the big agencies, they are biased because they already have certain type of a scenario where they're always providing the language service that maybe they miss the new opportunities. For example, one thing that I noticed, I was surprised, the concept of metaverse, right?
Yeah, I've been thinking about asking you about the metaverse, but I'm like, do I want to go down that rabbit hole with you? But you brought it up, so let's see what you have to say.
Okay. No, for example, how can you provide remote interpretation in the virtual world, right? And here comes very handy an API, so you can talk with the platform that is built in the virtual world, and then they can immediately already integrate with you. But there is another level. What is happening right now, before the metaverse, when everyone has their own glasses, which is not the case, there are already platforms that give you this gamified experience. Instead of going like a meeting on 2 dimensions, you can go into a meeting where you are like a player, like a game, and you can talk with people, and you can go to different kind of stages where there are different talks and speakers. for that, already you can provide remote interpretation. One good option is, for example, the extension that people is trying right now. We have already cases where this is happening, and the people get satisfied with the results. But in order to do that, it's not you. This is something new. You need to test and blindly test. So that's what I realized sometimes is the advantage of the startup, maybe, because they can quickly build something, test it, and see the results, and then can improve on this. Or as it happened to us, we were throwing the API, and they were getting us back. No, I want a player. Then with the player, no, I want an extension. So this is how actually we can pivot quickly to see how better. Because the problem is the same.
Sorry, interpreter, for talking over. The problem's the same, right? Like you're saying, it's just, I mean, the solution is the same. You have an API, and you can, whether you're connecting that to a live stream or to a metaverse type environment, the solution remains the same. And I remember I was trying to find it here. I've done an event with Interprify and MoodUp. MoodUp is a metaverse online event platform creator, and Interprify is also an interpreting agency that's developed their own plugin for it. And that was a really cool event. That was, it looks like 5 months ago. I was trying to find it here on LinkedIn, but I'm sure there's still a recording somewhere if you guys want to go check that out. And look at the webinar and the conversation that was had around that. But the metaverse, I think the question is, like, how is the metaverse going to be the next World Wide Web, right? And I think there's people out there that are saying the metaverse is the next thing. Everything's going to be in the metaverse. I am skeptical. I don't think if that time's coming, I don't think that time is here yet. I have the headset. We have the Nimsyverse, right? You can go to, I think, metaverse.nimsy.com and enter the Nimsyverse and go play around with stuff if you want. But I don't think it's quite there yet. But when it comes, right, there's going to be a huge need for simultaneous interpretation at scale. Because when we're talking about the metaverse, we're inherently talking about user-generated content, right? We're not just talking about brands wanting to interpret their webinars. There's going to be a need for interpretation peer-to-peer. If we're looking at what is the VR chat, right? You just put on your headset in your room with 20 other individuals. Half of them aren't speaking a language that you understand, right? Have you even started looking into any machine interpretation solutions out there? Or are you still focused on the human interpretation aspect?
Well, we already have remote interpretation with AI recognized subtitles, because this is something that is the agency client who already started requesting.
Right.
And we also have the purely AI translated subtitles, but it's not as accurate, because especially the expectation of the clients are always very high, and the technology is not that ready, especially when they are talking about very specific topics in a congress, in a meeting. So the only thing that we're trying to do is customize speech models, so the agencies can train the models or prepare the vocabulary that is going to be said during a meeting. So in advance, they can know Akkadu, how to spell it, Alvaro Montoya, my name, and other proper nouns. That's the only step that we want to go for now in this direction.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense to me, just until the technology is really there. It seems like every month I'm seeing a news article, Facebook creates Wonder goggles or Wonder earpiece that automatically translates into any language. The Star Trek times are here. And I think those are good for headlines, that especially for people that aren't part of the language services industry. But I think most of us in this industry read those and just kind of roll our eyes. It's
I guess that here you just need to listen to the client.
Yeah.
Because the client, they try that, and if they insult you, then maybe you shouldn't use this Facebook technology for now.
And I think that's the moral of like my takeaway from talking to you before this and talking to you today on this podcast is you followed the needs of the client. You didn't have a solution that you were trying to ram down everybody's throats. You had something that you thought was cool. You demoed it. You showed it to people, and then you listened to them and you made adjustments. And I think you'll probably keep doing that. And 3 years from now, who knows what the product's going to look like? But I'm sure it's going to be a hit. Like I'm putting my money on your success here, and that's why I wanted to have you on the show. But as we're wrapping up here, what did I forget to ask you about, Alvaro? This isn't really my shtick, and unfortunately I didn't invite Rosie and Sarah on the call today like they were supposed to be on the call today with me. Sorry guys, that's my fault for scheduling poorly. But what did I forget to ask you about today?
I think we went through the extension and applications, also a little bit the advantages and disadvantages. Maybe one of the biggest challenges that we're facing because as a SaaS platform, we're not a virtual platform. We are not a video conferencing platform or video streaming platform. We don't want to be such players because that's another market, another industry with many competitors. We don't want to enter. We are still the add-on to make any of those players multilingual. And one of the challenges that we have seen in the video streaming world is the synchronization of video and audio. That is one of the challenges depending on the streaming protocols that you use, RTMP, HLS. So this is one of the beauty of the streaming world, but also the challenge. Yeah. And it's always very good to see the different approaches that many players they use. But we're very happy because with our player, we managed to synchronize everything together. So there is no challenge on this side. With the extension, it's different. With the extension, there is always a challenge, but for video conferencing, it's actually always synchronized, which also is fine.
And that's definitely worth calling out because there's folks listening right now to the live interpretation. Then you might be thinking, oh, this is lame because there's like a 20-second delay. Well, that's because of how I'm running this live stream, right? That's not because of the system. That's using the extension. If I were to be running this directly natively in the platform, then there would be no delay. It would be true simultaneous interpretation. And for those of you that don't know, you guys hear what I say 20 to 60 seconds. Well, I don't know, 20 to 30 seconds after I say it, right? You don't notice it, but I sure notice it because sometimes I'll get comments that say, can you please repeat what you just said? Like, oh, I don't know what I just said because I said it a while ago, probably. So,
actually, can I ask one question to the participants? Can you, if you understand Spanish and English, can you maybe on the comments share your experience? Like, do you think the interpretation was too far delayed compared with the original audio or was almost synchronized? Because even the challenge of LinkedIn with this 20 seconds delay, we try to solve this for today. So I like to see the feedback. Please be brutally honest. That's how we learn.
Oh, my audience is always brutally honest, trust me. for better or worse. Yeah, so don't hold back, guys. Let us know how that went. And drive my engagement on my social media channels while you're at it. So that's awesome. Well, Alvaro, I think we're coming up on time here. So I want to thank you very much. What time is it there?
3:20
a.m.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3:20 a.m. So thank you for accommodating this time slot all the way from Beijing, China. Please go get some sleep before you have to wake up and go to work in 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah.
It's been my pleasure to have you on the call. So let's make sure to keep in touch. And if anyone needs an introduction, you don't need an introduction. Reach out to them directly.
Okay, thank you guys for having me and also for the opportunity. Not many organizations listen sometimes to the small players. You guys are doing it. I also believe you are betting on the right player, but I appreciate this opportunity.
Well, I love the small players and the big players won't talk to me. So thank you. Thank you, Alvaro. I'll take us out here, ladies and gentlemen, chat. It is time. If you enjoyed this episode of NIMSY Live, then make sure to subscribe, like, follow, all of that stuff, and join us next time on tomorrow. Join us next time on tomorrow, because tomorrow I'm going to be talking to Angelica Perez, and we're going to be talking about the current state and future of remote work in the language services industry, the importance of global diversification. Next week, I'm talking to Anmai Vandermeer and Amir Kaslan and Akim Ruap about the results. The results are in from the data-enhanced machine translation trials and pilots that they've been running over there with some pretty big clients that they probably can't name. But if you want to hear more about the latest advancements in data-enhanced machine translation, next week we're talking to the experts on that. So, once again, finally, I'm Tucker Johnson. I appreciate my guest, Alvaro Montoya. I appreciate all of my colleagues here at NIMSY Insights who are doing the hard work so I get to play around with live streams. And I appreciate everybody in our industry who's responding to industry research. We have active research going on right now, nimsy.com/participate if you want to make your voice heard. And last but not least, I appreciate you guys here, the audience in chat, making sure to keep us honest and provide that brutal feedback that we've come to rely upon. And with that, I will see you next time on the next episode of NIMSY Live.